Owners of Crows faked OBC certificate. Demanded VIP vehicle, cabin and personal guard. Pune fraud IAS.
Once again, it's India Today that puts the spotlight on a story forcing the entire national media to sit up and take notice. It was on India Today that this story broke, and I'm going to be taking you through the very heart of the Puja Khedkar story. It is truly a shameful one. Brace in, strap in. This gets very, very interesting. Thanks for being with me. I'm Shiv. As always, first the headlines. Heat is mounting on Puja Khedkar, the IAS trainee who is now under a national spotlight, says that she is mum on the cheating charges. IAS Academy to take final call on her candidature. Pune police act against the Lal Batti on her personal Audi. Big revelation in the Mumbai hit-and-run case. BMW brat admits to consuming alcohol in 2 bars. Accused driver sent to judicial custody. NEET hearing in Supreme Court pushed to next Thursday, so students have to wait even longer. Petitioners tell top court NEET leak was systematic fraud. Scams interstate link in Gujarat's Godhra emerges. Another public flogging shocker from Kolkata. Trinamool cadre seen thrashing and stripping a boy. Bengal Chief Minister Mamta calls video a BJP plot as usual. Big war over alleged misuse of Karnataka Dalit funds. National Dalit panel sends notice to Siddaramaiah. Union Mantri Shobha Karanlaje demands a CBI probe. Was the Sidhu government diverting funds meant for the Dalit community to fulfill the Congress's electoral guarantees in the state? Viewer, over 5 lakh students appear for the civil services preliminary examination every year. Roughly double that number register to take the test with dreams in their eyes of joining India's civil services, the IAS, the IPS, the Foreign Service and 18 other services. By the end of this brutally difficult selection process, a minuscule 180 are selected annually to join the IAS, the Indian Administrative Service. Think about that number for just a second. 180. You probably have more people in a 50-meter radius from where you're standing or sitting right now. That's how many people, or that's how few people become IAS officers each year. Needless to say, it is India's most sought-after service, where students spend years studying, reattempting, sacrificing family time, studies and their future, and much more just to make it into the civil services. Now imagine even one of those 180 seats being given to someone who has possibly lied about their status, deceived the system about their economic background, misrepresented their health, and made it through. Well, sadly, that is precisely what is alleged to have happened in Maharashtra, in Pune, where a fresh IAS entrant named Puja Khedkar, that's her on your screen, is now under investigation for possibly lying about virtually every aspect of her life in order to penetrate the IAS and become an IAS officer. After she was recently shunted from her Pune position to a punishment posting elsewhere owing to bratish VIP behavior and demands for perks she wasn't entitled to, and she's a new officer, she just is part of the 2023 batch. A closer look revealed a timeline of possible deception and lies that allowed Puja Khedkar to enter the IAS. These include disability concessions that she has simply refused to medically prove as made compulsory by the UPSC. More alarmingly, however, she is also said to have used the OBC non-creamy layer quota to get selected. This, when she belongs to a family that we now know owns assets worth 40 crore rupees. In other words, she is anything but economically disadvantaged and refuses to prove the disabilities that obtained her concessions to get into the IAS. And she belongs very much to the creamy layer of India's disadvantaged castes, which means that as a result of Puja Khedkar making it into the IAS, someone actually from the non-creamy layer, someone actually economically disadvantaged from India's backward castes, could not make it into the civil services. Ironically, it was an illegal VIP lal batti on her personal Audi luxury car that finally got her busted. You'll see more in the report I'm about to show you, but I've chosen to lead with this story today, and India Today has chosen to take up the story that nobody else wanted to, because if the allegations against Puja Khedkar stand true, then it proves every student's worst fear about India's competitive entrance system. That the system can be gamed, it can be compromised, it can be rigged, that caste identity can be wielded like an invincibility cloak in order to ward off questions. But the real question now is this: will Puja Khedkar only be transferred and hidden from view until the media forgets her? Or will she be sacked and booked if found guilty of what she's accused of? The media may move on from the story, I'll be very honest with you. Already angered and disoriented by the NEET mess, students, however, who give their blood to enter the civil services will not forget and they will not forgive. And that's why Puja Khedkar is a test case.
After the massive NEET scam row, now questions over UPSC exams that pick India's future bureaucrats, diplomats and police officers. Dr. Puja Khedkar, an IAS probationer posted in Pune, has been transferred to Washim for alleged misuse of power. The transfer comes after Khedkar made news for seeking unauthorized privileges, such as using a private Audi car equipped with a red-blue beacon and VIP number plate and displaying a Maharashtra government board on her personal vehicle. Khedkar allegedly made demands for an official car with a VIP number plate, accommodation and an official chamber, which were against the protocol for probation officers. The officer is now embroiled in a bigger row after RTI activist Vijay Kumbhar claimed irregularities in her selection in UPSC exams. According to the activist, Khedkar allegedly submitted fake disability and non-creamy layer OBC certificates to clear the civil services examination. Khedkar claimed to be from non-creamy layer when her father, Dilip Khedkar, in 2024 Lok Sabha election affidavit listed assets valued at 40 crore rupees.
उनके पिताजी का जो एफिडेविट इलेक्शन कमीशन में है, उसमें उन्होंने अपने संपत्ति करीबन 40 करोड़ दिखाई है। अगर जिनकी संपत्ति, जिनके पिताजी की संपत्ति 40 करोड़ है, उनको नॉन क्रिमिनल सर्टिफिकेट मिल कैसे सकता है?
Puja Khedkar declined to comment on the charges being leveled against her.
I'm not authorized to speak anything right now, so I cannot comment on this.
मैम आज अपन ज्वाइन करना है?
Oh, I'm very happy to join in Washim district, and I'm looking forward to working in it.
Allegations of irregularities in the selection of Puja Khedkar could hit the credibility of the civil services exams if the loopholes are not plugged soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today has sought to get a comment from Puja Khedkar, who's been shunning the media. We have tried to get her on the record on all these very serious allegations against her. She's a 2023 batch IAS officer on probation, and these allegations against her have resulted in her being transferred. But is she in more trouble? She says she has no idea. Listen into the only comment that Puja Khedkar has made.
मला ऑथरायझेशन नाही ह्याच्याबद्दल
पण आपल्या घरी आज तक आपल्या घरी पोलीस गेलेले आहेत.
आय हॅव नो आयडिया. मला प्लीज विचारू नका. तुम्ही आता इथे आहे. लेट मी डू माय वर्क.
ओके, थँक्यू.
मला ऑथरायझेशन नाही आहे ह्याच्याबद्दल काही बोलण्यासाठी.
नाही पण आपल्या घरी
तुम्ही
आज
मला
तक
काय
आज तक
विचारू नका.
आपल्या घरी पोलीस गेलेले आहेत
आय हॅव
आपल्या
नो आयडिया. मला प्लीज विचारू नका. तुम्ही आता इथे आहे. लेट मी डू माय वर्क.
ओके थँक्यू.
And India Today's Omkar Wable, who has brought this story into the national spotlight, is with me live. Omkar, multiple actions are being taken against Puja Khedkar. She's transferred from Pune to Washim. Many different violations while she was a probationary officer. The police is planning to act against her under the Motor Vehicles Act. IAS Academy is also contemplating action against her for the various allegations. What kind of trouble is she in, Omkar?
So what I feel is der aaye but durust aaye. That's what I can say right now, because everything came into light when she actually occupied the antechamber of additional collector of the Pune when he was in ministry for some additional charge. When he came back to Pune and he got to know that some probationary officer has occupied his own antechamber and working behalf of him. Then he complained to the collector, and then whole matter came into the light. But before that, probationary IAS officer Puja Khedkar was using her own Audi. The board was written on her private vehicle, Maharashtra, government of Maharashtra. She was using that typical siren and everything. But interesting thing was, every senior officer was surprised when she started WhatsApping collector and the resident collector that she started demanding privileges, that she wanted her own antechamber, she wanted a guard and accommodation and everything before taking charge of before taking charge of assistant collector. Now actions are taking on a different level, but still some questions are remaining same. Like, she did not submit her she wasn't present at the medical test, even
Correct.
though she was appeared for the examination and everything. She has cleared UPSC exam, she got 821 rank. There are no issues, but the problem is, if her father is submitting affidavit and the affidavit is reflecting almost 40 crores of property. I would like to show this bungalow which is situated in a prime location of the Pune. This is almost worth 25 to 30 crore rupees. Her father has submitted affidavit in the election to the election commission, which reflects that they have property worth 40 crore rupees. But this is a single bungalow which holds almost 25 to 30 crore rupees. Apart from this, they have gold, diamonds and jewelries. Apart from this, they have more than 100 acres of agricultural land in different districts, also flats at prime location. So basically, she appeared UPSC exam from the non-criminal category, even though they had property more than 40 crores. Second issue is, 6 times UPSC told her to appear to be present for the medical test, just because she was appearing for PWB 5. So the quota belongs to the multiple disabilities, which is reserved for the OBC category, so that is caste category, and second is a disability category. 6 times she gave different excuses. Like, first time she told UPSC that she was COVID positive. Second time she did not present at the time. Even third time she wasn't there. And finally, what she did, she submitted MRI copy of some private hospital. So questions are being raised on UPSC also. How can a central commission consider a private MRI copy of someone IS officer and give them?
Omkar, it's actually amazing, because what you've shown us, apart from what everybody else has been reporting, what you've shown us live on the show today is a house, multi-story house worth many crores of rupees in Pune, belonging to a family where Puja Khedkar has taken the benefit of being a non-creamy layer OBC to get concessions to enter the Indian Administrative Service. If this is not fraud, I don't know what is. Ultimately, an investigation will prove her crimes, but at the moment, she is under investigation. She's been sent shunted out from Pune to a punishment posting of sorts in Washim. That's where you heard her speak. But Omkar will continue to track that story. Omkar, continue to be there. I will come back to you in just a moment. But I also want to get an expert view on this entire issue to give our viewers, and I know I have millions of students tuning in and watching right now on India Today. I'm joined by Shekhar Dutt. He's co-founder of Sleepy Classes. He runs a very, very popular YouTube channel that provides content for UPSC aspirants. And he has been very, very dismayed and upset by the Puja Khedkar incident. This entire news story has upset Shekhar Dutt very, very deeply. He's in fact put out a tweet saying this Puja Khedkar case might be the moment of the UPSC's fall from grace. He has also said it's an unbelievably sad day to be associated with UPSC preparation. And coming from someone like a Shekhar Dutt, who runs a UPSC aspirant YouTube channel which has 1 million subscribers, this is something to be taken very seriously. Mr. Dutt, welcome. Thank you for your time here on India Today. I want to start by asking you a very specific question. What kind of damage does the Puja Khedkar incident, this story, do in the minds of genuine UPSC aspirants of the kind that you serve?
It's like when we see students from the Hindi belt particularly, and they are the ones who rely very heavily on this particular exam, UPSC, and they dream of it, even when they have cracked IITs or even when they have gone to IIMs. They still want to make it through UPSC and become an IAS officer. And we have 3 I's in India. One is said to be IIT, then IIM, and the biggest of them all is IAS.
Yes.
And we have seen so many memes, so many videos of people wanting to be an IAS officer. And it's like something more than a job, very sacrosanct. And yesterday when it started, a couple of days ago, when the news started breaking out, and my Twitter account, my inbox was full of a lot of questions that UPSC also is now falling, or perhaps like UPSC is also in the same league where we have put other agencies, for example, NTA. It was on a higher pedestal, above everything else, beyond question. And suddenly now there's a trust deficit. I want to see it as an outsider. I'm not an insider. I barely know anyone working in a ministry or anywhere else. I see it as an outsider, and I want to keep preparing students. I've been preparing students for the last more than a decade now.
Yes.
And I've made attempts in UPSC. I've appeared in interviews. And it's an immaculate agency work, and we work with retired bureaucrats to conduct interviews. And it's an immaculate agency, one of the best in the nation. But this particular thing has put the entire credibility in question. And suddenly it's like I teach sociology in particular, and there's a particular concept given by a Harvard scholar, Theda Skocpol, and she says only 2 things are required to run a nation smoothly. 2 resources. One is human resource and one is financial resource. We are pretty confident when it comes to financial resources, because we raise a lot of finances from within, taxing, etc. We do complain about it often. But the human resources were the benchmark. One of the best recruiting agencies in the world, UPSC, often being called the toughest exam and all. And then there were stories, Barmi fail and all. And suddenly the dream seems to be vanishing. Suddenly it feels
which is what I want to ask you, Mr. Dutt. Students, and I know students, because there were many people in my batch who chose to take a year off, study for the civil services exam, had many different reattempts. I don't know what the limit on reattempts is, but I know people who have exhausted all the reattempt options as well. It's a sacrifice that students make. I mean, ultimately, there are many different services, but since we are speaking about the IAS, if I'm not mistaken, 180 annually are admitted into the Indian Administrative Service. What would be going through the minds of those students? You are in touch with many of those students. When they see a story like this must be shattering.
Exactly. One of the things was it is assumed to be pretty very common in state exams, in state services, but never in UPSC. UPSC is above everything else. I recently conducted a session with students, and the students were worried. And there's this particular case which one of the parents asked, and to one of my colleagues. It was about a parent, one of the fathers, a student's father. He called them up and he was asking, "Agar aap kuch karwa sakte ho to karwa dena, hum paise laga denge." That's a kind of trust deficit that has started coming in now, because it's such news and the trust of years is gone. We have subjects like ethics. I particularly spend a lot of time wanting to create a batch of bureaucrats, those who go down to the grassroots and serve the nation. But suddenly, even I'm in a dilemma. What exactly are we able to achieve? Has it been able to make any difference?
This is extremely distressing, and I'm getting a lot of messages as as we roll this show, Shekhar, and I can tell you that students are tuning in and they're actually thanking me for getting someone like you on board, because they are looking for some kind of reassurance as well. So I request you to stay with me for just a moment, because I have a couple of follow-up questions as well. But I quickly want to get our viewers an update on this story, because we're tracking everything live. We're trying to get the family of Puja Khedkar on the record as well, and we've got some breaking news on that front. Puja Khedkar, the tainted IAS trainee's mother, has just lost her cool at the media. Puja's mother has pushed away the media. She has also assaulted a camera when journalists were trying to get a comment from her. Let's just get that. Let's just get a view on that. We've got that video there. Let's just play it out. Puja Khedkar's mother attacking television cameras outside the family residence. She's lost her cool. She's attacked the media.
और इस बंगलों को खोलने के लिए हमें पुलिस अनुरोध कर रही है। डॉक्टर खेड़कर के घर से
We bring in India Today's Omkar Wable. He's right outside the gate where Puja Khedkar's mother is losing her cool, shouting at the media. Omkar, what's going on? You were just trying to ask her some questions there.
Exactly. Just before some time, a traffic police came to the Puja Khedkar's house. They wanted to check the vehicle's status and if there is any pending challan on that white Audi or not. But Puja Khedkar's mother came outside. She did not want to open the gate, and she started shouting at the media. I tried to ask her, "Ma'am, what happened? Are you going to cooperate with the police?" And what she said, she started threatening the media. If you go through that audio clip properly, she said in Marathi, basically, I'll tell you what she said in the Marathi. अगर आप अगर सब यहीं पे रुकोगे या फिर मेरी लड़की ने आत्महत्या सुसाइड कर लिया तो मैं आप सबको अंदर डाल दूंगी. So basically, she started threatening media here. We were trying to cover the story. We are trying here what police were trying to do, how police were taking action, what police were doing here. We're trying to just take visuals, but she started attacking. She came out aggressively, and she attacked media at the same time.
This is all these talk about Atmahatya, etc. is extremely inappropriate. She's the mother of Puja. Nobody wishes Puja Khedkar ill in any way. These are protocols. This is the law of the land that needs to be followed. And that is the reason why the media is outside her house and asking legitimate questions. Nobody is entering the house. Nobody is badgering anyone. These are legitimate questions. This is about the lives of students whose lives may have been affected as a result of fraud allegedly being conducted by Puja Khedkar. The media has a right to ask these questions. Omkar Wable, one of the journalists outside Puja Khedkar's residence, trying to get a word from the family, but only eliciting this aggressive, angry attack. It is understandable. The family may be upset at this point of time because of the questions being asked, but they owe answers to the media, to the country right now, because people are asking questions about how Puja Khedkar managed to enter the IAS with all these allegations of possible deception. And we will continue to raise those questions no matter what the threats that emerge from the mother, the father, whoever it is there in the family. I want to return now to Shekhar Dutt of Sleepy Classes, who is our expert today, helping guide us through this story. Shekhar, a lot of drama, obviously, as you can see, is playing out in this story because, tempers are up. People are obviously upset. The family is upset. And, that is understandable because ultimately it is their daughter who is now in the spotlight. But these are legitimate questions that the media is asking because ultimately, one out of one, even like you said, the IAS is sacrosanct. The UPSC is sacrosanct. If 1 out of 180 seats is proven to be compromised in the kind of brazen manner in which we believe it might have been, as per these allegations, then it means the entire system is broken, Shekhar. Do you agree with me? Because, like you said, like our reporter said, one of the examples, let me take, and I'll let you answer, Mr. Dutt, is using disability to get certain concessions to be selected into the UPSC, and then refusing to turn up for those tests to prove that disability, then providing an MRI from a private hospital, which is not acceptable, not eligible as proof, but somehow it gets accepted, and then, she is selected into the IAS. This means that there are many people up the chain of command within the system who are also tainted. It's not just Puja. She couldn't have acted alone. There are many people.
It does raise a lot of questions, that's right. But UPSC, to be particular, it's a very student-friendly organization, institution. And one of those institutions which really goes outside and even to help a student. For example, if a student fails to submit a particular kind of a certificate, they usually give you time. Even if, let's say, if you have to, submit a certificate and appear for the interview, and if you fail to do so, they reschedule your interviews, and they're very accommodating. UPSC is very accommodating. One of the best institutions that I've seen working in the country. But yes, and when it comes to medical, I want to share this particular thing. They do not really even accept, let's say, for example, if I'm wearing glasses, specs, and if I tell them that I've gotten this inspected, checked from outside, they do not even accept my number of specs, and they do it themselves. So they're very particular about it. So it does raise a lot of questions how this entire thing, if it's true, how it unfolded, would of course require a lot of interrogation and introspection.
One final question, Mr. Dutt, in that case is, if, the investigation is currently on, she's still on probation, she's been transferred, from Pune now to, what is being seen as some kind of a punishment posting away from the media glare, etc. But if these allegations against her are proven true, and I want to be careful because they are still in the realm of allegation, there's an investigation going on. If they are proven to be true, what, in your view, needs to happen? My personal view as a lay person is, if the entire basis on which she was selected and brought into the IAS is a falsehood, then she has no business being in the IAS. She should be sacked and she should be booked for criminal charges. Do you think the same or do you think differently?
That's correct. If the certificates are false, if the certificates are fake, actions and even maybe sacking her would be the right thing to do. But it has never happened in the history of civil services. I tried researching it. It has never happened when a probationer got maybe sacked. Because it's really tough to sack a bureaucrat, and once UPSC recommends someone and the OPT approves it, and once you're in the field, it's almost impossible to sack you on the basis of your conduct. So criminal charges, etc., might really help in that case. But it's important. I was wondering.
Yes, continue your point, sir.
Yeah, there's this particular thing that we do talk about a lot of bureau reforms required in bureaucracy, but this is a new kind of thing which has come up, which has turned up. India is particularly witnessing a lot of students wanting to get into government jobs, and India does have a lot of young population wanting to become officers. Very talented people, very enthusiastic people. As you said, they spend a lot of time and even years waiting to crack this exam. So
absolutely,
if such a thing comes out to be true, it will be really disheartening for a lot of people, because my Twitter inbox particularly is full, and there are a few selected students who are in touch with me on WhatsApp. They're sending me a lot of stories of genuine people who could not make it through because their certificates were not accepted to be valid.
Exactly.
So in that case, it'll be a double jeopardy kind of a thing, or somebody gets through and somebody who was legitimate, who was valid, could not.
At a time when student anger is at a peak over the entire NEET issue, at a time when faith in the education ministry, the education system, the competitive exam system is already running through a lot of turbulence. If the sacrosanct UPSC is proven to have been completely gamed, rigged and compromised by Puja Khedkar, then I have no choice but to agree with Shekhar Dutt here when he says that this could be the downfall of the UPSC. And I feel for him when he says it's a sad day to be part of the UPSC entrance system right now. Remember that Shekhar Dutt sits on the other side. He's helping people actually take the exam in a legitimate, honest and decent manner. But then you have people like Puja Khedkar who allegedly did exactly the opposite. Imagine what goes through the minds of those who are targeting one of just 180 available spots in the IAS every single year. We leave it there, Shekhar Dutt. Appreciate you joining me and giving me your thoughts on this. I have a feeling that we're going to be speaking more often as we continue to talk about this story. Thanks very much for the moment. And speaking of NEET, the Supreme Court today has moved its hearing on the NEET paper leak petitions to next week. That's July the 18th. Remember, the centre has filed an affidavit on the controversial NEET PG 2024 examination for medical entrance that includes data analytics from IIT Madras, which says that there has been no mass malpractice in the NEET UG 2024. It's something of a clean chit, but not quite. According to the analysis, there was no mass malpractice in the exam and candidates did not achieve abnormal scores. The mark distribution was reported as completely normal according to IIT Madras, with a general increase in student scores observed across all centres. According to sources, the CBI has also confirmed, remember the CBI is investigating the paper leak issue. The CBI has also confirmed that there was no mass leak in the NEET UG 2024 exam. The paper leak, they say, was confined to a local area, specifically one particular centre in Bihar, and only a few students accessed the leaked paper. And importantly, there was no involvement of social media or Telegram in the paper leakage. So it was a micro-limited paper leak issue, not something that compromised the entire NEET 2024 exam. So this drastically reduces the possibility of an entire re-NEET, a retest of the NEET, though that decision is yet to be taken.
हरियाणा के एक क्षेत्र से, हरियाणा के एक एजुकेशनल संस्थान से 7 बच्चे ऐसे निकल करके गए जिन्होंने नीट के अंदर फुल मार्क प्राप्त कर कितने मार्क प्राप्त कर लिए जो नीट के अंदर हो ही नहीं सकते। ये नीट का जो एग्जाम है, इसके बारे में कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आने वाले समय के अंदर राजनीति के अंदर, सरकार के अंदर बच्चों की आस्था खत्म हो जाएगी।
Live, Milan Sharma, Nidhi Taneja, our team who's been tracking NEET and breaking every story related to the story. Milan, quickly coming to you first. Hearing shifted to next week. The IIT Madras report says no mass malpractice. Is that the last word as far as the extent to which the NEET exam has been compromised, or is there more ahead?
Well, Shiv, there are constant investigations that are going on from the CBI, and the fact that there have been arrests of many related to the NEET UG leak indicates counter, narrative from the CBI and what the NTA and the Madras IIT report is actually pointing out. They are saying that there has been no malpractice, mass malpractice, and they are saying that's not happened in the marks distribution. The question is not just about marks distribution, it's also about how the paper has leaked and how many have been the beneficiaries of this leak, which the NTA, both in their affidavit to the Supreme Court as well as the centre in another affidavit, are finding it difficult to quantify as to how many beneficiaries have come out of this particular leak. But having said that, the CBI has also pointed out in various forms that the leak has happened. They have arrested people related to the leak, so that, the narrative is twofold from both these sides. And of course, the NTA there clearly says that, if any malpractice has taken place, we are going to cancel the, candidature of those particular students who have benefited. But the last word remains from the Supreme Court, of which the court has delayed the hearing today and said we'll take it up on July 18th, because there are a lot of aspects. Whether the court will look at a re-NEET only for those scoring above 500 is also one option. Whether the court will not look at a re-NEET at all, or whether the court will say that, re-NEET can be done for 13 lakh students. It's an impossible option, but maybe those scoring above 500 to 720 could perhaps be in that bracket, Shiv.
Okay, so Milan, stay with me. Nidhi is also with us. Nidhi, does the fact that the IIT Madras report's findings have been submitted by the centre in the Supreme Court, does that drastically reduce the chances? We don't want to second guess what's going to happen in the Supreme Court, but does that in many ways, in some way, reduce the possibility of an entire retest, because we know students are quite divided on this aspect, and each day of delay in a final decision is only increasing anxiety?
Well, Shiv, the findings by IIT Madras, you will find them definitive. And IIT Madras findings, like I said, they seem to be definitive. And in the sense that we remember that a lot of students have been waiting since 5th of May. The exam took place on 5th of May. It's been almost more than 2 months that it's a long, anxious wait for all these students. And now, when this Supreme Court hearing comes in, IIT Madras findings come in, they definitely, in a way, we can, like you said, we don't want to second guess it, but it at least points towards no re-NEET for all students. Maybe what Milan said, that it could be a possibility that if at all the MTA and the centre tell Supreme Court about certain red flag centres, maybe there could be a retest for only those, if at all.
Okay, Nidhi and Milan, thanks very much for tracking this. We'll keep coming back to you because that's where the story is breaking. In fact, we've got a news update related to NEET at this point of time. The CBI has arrested Rakesh Ranjan. That's right, the CBI has arrested Rakesh Ranjan, the main kingpin in the Bihar NEET paper leak case. He's been arrested from Patna, the state capital. The CBI has got 10 days custody of Rakesh Ranjan from court. Searches at his locations connected to him in Patna and Kolkata have resulted in the recovery of incriminating documents related to a limited leak of the NEET 2024 paper. And we'll keep a very close track of that. And coming up next, another villain in the spotlight. 9 days after 123 people were killed in a stampede at his satsang, Bhole Baba is still out there, not named in the FIR, full state protection from Uttar Pradesh, and nobody's asking any questions except India today. Imagine that. Imagine the 360-degree VIP shield this God-man is receiving. Full update next.
Introducing Moto G85 5G. All eyes on you.
Hello, Moto.
We will not let this story go. That was our promise to you. 9 days and counting since the satsang at which over 120 people died painful deaths, and there is still no trace of the Hathras self-styled godman Bhole Baba. But that's also because nobody's really looking for him, you see. He hasn't been named in the FIR. So he has a VIP shield despite presiding over a satsang after which 120 of his own devotees perished. Well, since that satsang that claimed over 120 lives, Bhole Baba's past has now come under the radar, and we are the only channel fearlessly exposing every layer. India Today uncovers his not-so-Bhole life in the ashram, where young so-called virgin girls were at Bhole Baba's beck and call. Take a look at the secret life of this so-called godman.
Bhole Baba, whereabouts unknown since the deadly stampede in Hathras. He was the man leading the satsang on July 2nd. Since the tragedy, he's only put out one video statement. Now, his past is catching up with him. India Today has uncovered an unholy side of this self-styled godman. The relationship between him and his female devotees or gopis. Men and women who went to Bhole Baba's satsang have made some sensational revelations. They claim Suraj Pal, aka Bhole Baba, surrounded himself with virgin girls. He would tell these girls that they can see the reflection of God in his sunglasses, which he would wear only during the satsang. The girls were given special red dresses by the satsang organizing committee. These girls in red would then dress up and put makeup and dance around Bhole Baba. Red attire was only for virginal girls.
लड़कियां गहने कपड़े पहन कर नाचती और बाबा के पास कूद कूद के उनने जाली जंगलाने और पहुंच जाती और खूब नाचते हंसते उनने उनके चश्मान में प्रभु दिखाई दे गए और खूब नाचे वो आत्मा उनके पति बना कर रह गई उनमें टेंट तंबू कचुताने रहते वहीं पे तैयार होती और वहीं पे दरबार में जाते ड्रेस कोई ड्रेस नहीं जाती बगैर ड्रेस हमने कोई ये ना घुसन देवे जो ड्रेस पहन कर रहती वो सज धज कर वही जाती.
Devotees claim only virgins were made Bhole Baba's disciples and that married women were not allowed to meet him.
लड़कियां ही रहती थी कुआरी ब्याही जो अनपढ़ लड़कियां वो गुरनाम लेती वो लेडीज जो मतलब उनने अंधविश्वास ने एक भी भीतर ना हुई ऐसा वो तो वह भोले बाबा के रूप से देखे जिनको ने एक भी ना हो.
This not so Bhole Baba also had his own harem. Special bath water would be prepared by the Baba's gopis that had neem and rose petals and would be scented with perfume. The gopis would also feed him.
नीम का पानी से स्नान करता है लेडीज ही उसे नहलाती हैं लेडीज ही खिलाती हैं कपड़े तलाक लेडीज पहनाती हैं और लेडीजों में भी कुंवारी लड़कियां हैं ये नहीं कि ब्याही थाई लड़कियां आती हों.
A godman who indulged in most unholy acts. That's Bhole Baba. Bureau Report, India Today.
Not named in an FIR, not questioned by the police, not even named in the special investigation team report under the Yogi Adityanath government. There's still no action against Suraj Pal, aka Narayan Sakar Hari, aka Bhole Baba, the man who was leading the satsang in Hathras moments before that deadly stampede killed 123 people. Well, BSP Chief Mayawati is the first and only UP politician to demand action against Bhole Baba openly. Neither Akhilesh Yadav nor Rahul Gandhi have said a word about him. Yogi Adityanath has referred to him as Sajjan. The rest have simply avoided even mentioning him so far. Is Bhole Baba's caste proving to be a VIP shield?
There is still no trace of Suraj Pal, aka Narayan Sakar Hari, aka Bhole Baba. 123 people were killed at his satsang on 2nd July in Hathras in Uttar Pradesh. A special investigation team probing the deadly tragedy has held the organizers of the satsang primarily responsible, but does not name Bhole Baba. The UP police had earlier said that Bhole Baba will be summoned for interrogation if required. 11 people, including Mukhya Sevadar or head volunteer and main accused Dev Prakash Madhukar, have been arrested so far. Will there be any action against Bhole Baba? BSP Chief Mayawati has questioned the SIT report, saying that it is silent on the God-man, the main organizer of the deadly incident. She also claims that there is an attempt to give Bhole Baba a clean chit. Mayawati is the first UP politician to publicly demand action against the God-man, who belongs to the Jatav community and has influence among SC/ST and OBCs.
भोले बाबा पर इस तरह टारगेट करना, जाति क्या दलित शोषित समाज को भक्ति करने का बिल्कुल अधिकार उन्होंने छीन लिया है। जब वो 30-35 मिनट पहले वहां से विसर्जन करके जा चुके थे, फिर उसके बाद ऐसा कहना बहन मायावती जी बहुत दुखद है और इससे पूरा शोषित वंचित समाज बहुत दुखी है, आहत है।
Samajwadi Party chief and MP Akhilesh Yadav continues to blame the UP government, but is conspicuously silent on Bhole Baba.
अभी जो हाथरस में घटना हुई वो भी प्रशासन का फेलियर था। अधिकारियों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई हुई है और जब कार्रवाई की है सरकार ने, तो सरकार ने स्वीकार किया है कि जब अनुमति दी थी तो अनुमति होने के बाद जो पर्याप्त सुरक्षा, पर्याप्त अधिकारियों का इंतजाम होना चाहिए था, वो सरकार ने नहीं किया।
The UP government too is playing it safe.
किसी को रिपोर्ट पर आपत्ति होती है तो पुनः उस पर विचार किया जाता है। अगर उसको लगता है तो सरकार पर भेजें और उस पर विचार किया जाएगा कि किन बिंदुओं पर कमी रही है, उस बिंदु को सुधारने के लिए फिर से कहा जाएगा।
The SIT report does not rule out conspiracy and recommends an in-depth investigation. It has also found Tehsil-level police and administration guilty. Bureau Report, India Today.
And now for your daily dose of the biggest, grandest shadi of the year. The Ambanis have gone all out for the union of their youngest son, Anant, to Radhika Merchant. Yesterday, the creme de la creme of Bollywood, sports and others showed up for the Shiv Shakti Puja at the Ambani residence Antilia in Mumbai. Here's a look into the star-studded affair.